And they're my these I've switched headphones and it's still crap.
Is it your mixer?
Yeah, I think it's the plug of the mixer. Let me try different. That might be better. I don't know. I can hear now. You guys hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you all right.
All right. Oh well, welcome back. We've missed like a couple weeks. It feels like forever, but and this is like a busy week, I think, because we got Black Panther. We have a wedding. I don't think we have any funerals, but you know.
I have a Toys for Tots drive on Saturday.
Oh, nice. Toys for Tots drive. That's cool. Is it like one where they like drop like unwrapped or wrapped presents? Is that what they are?
I think unwrapped.
Oh, okay. Is that the Marines that does Toys for Tots? Like
or different bicycle clubs or motorcycle clubs.
Oh, is it really?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. E-girl's here. She was on my TikTok.
Mm.
No, that's.
Do you know which one it is, John? Do you know which group you're going to be with? The Marines or the motorcycle club?
Give me 2 seconds and I will tell you.
Look up the pre-mission report or whatever it's called.
Yeah. It could be Marines on motorcycles. It could be both.
Yes,
could be.
See, I now I've been binging the Armor Party again and the Dad
Marine Corps.
Oh, Marine Corps, and it's a dad batch, and I'm like, man, we really got to get our shit together and get a format. It's just such. It's just I don't know.
Stream of conscience. That's what it is.
Well, yeah, but I listened to the newest Armor Party, and it was the guy from Anovos or from the new Anovos was on. The guy who runs the new. Whatever. What, I always forget the name of that. Is it Dianovos or?
Yeah, Deo Novo.
Yeah, and he was talking about like all the ins and outs of that, which I thought it was really good interview. So, and I met him at Anaheim when me and Zoe were there. So, I don't know. It was good. I mean, it was not Inflatable Falcon good, but it was,
Look, we got to give credit where credit is due, but let's not give them too much credit.
I mean, they weren't bouncing on any inflatable Falcons, right? But I don't know. But I did see the new Andor. Are you guys caught up on Andor?
Of course, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, I just want to make sure. It just today. It just seems so hard to finally get everything done. Like last week and today, and this week has just been, I get like 3 days when kids care about their grades, and it's the 3 days before the end of the marking period. So they want to fit 45 days worth of work into 3 days. So
it's the way she goes.
Yeah. But anyway, so besides that, so have you guys trooped it all since we last talked?
Yeah, I was a little bit busy last week. So
yeah, you were visiting our overlord, the mouse.
And I'm very disappointed that video didn't make it to the Inflatable Falcon last week.
I know. I'm sorry. That was me. I was just.
No, I was part of that too.
I was mentally burnt. So, but that's.
I even put on a mini costume and everything. Actually, that was made by Chuck.
How? So, as a Disney person, now did you ever use the food plan, like the meal plan? Is the meal plan back in?
No.
Oh.
And I don't think it ever will be again.
It's a shame. I like that. I liked that being able to just put a giant chunk of cash down and then not think about it ever again.
Yeah, I mean, it would have come in handy this time around, sort of, maybe. But I think that the way that they're doing things now is the way that it's going to stay.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting. I was on the Skyliner during one of our trips into the park. I was reading an article about how the magic is gone in Disney, and the article was talking about something to the it was about the lightning lane and things like this. Where, for those of you that don't know, the lightning lane is a special feature that you can purchase in addition to your park ticket. So you get the Genie Plus, and then you can pay extra money per ride to get into a faster line to get on the ride. So in addition to paying money to get into the park, you're paying, $15 to $20 per ride to get into a faster line. If not, you could be spending. I mean, one of the rides was like a 240-minute wait or something like that.
Yikes!
And then the food and the drink prices have increased quite substantially.
Yeah.
Heather and I went to one place and ordered a pair of drinks, and we're chatting, and the bartender came back around and said, "Oh, would you like another?" We're like, "Yeah, sure, okay. We're having we're here, whatever." We got the bill. It was $100 for four drinks. Like, what the hell?
I think at Anaheim we didn't go in Disney. We went to downtown Disney or whatever it's called, and we got 2 vegan burgers. And I think with burgers and shakes, it was $80 for me and Zoe.
Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's I'm old and cheap or whatever, but I just think that the prices of things are quite extreme.
Yeah.
And we went. I mean, we were in all of the parks. We didn't go to the water parks. We did the 4 main ones. We did Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Epcot.
See, we always used to go when we went twice. So 2 times we went. We bought the Park Hopper. Do they still have that? Where you can go?
They still have that, except it's a little bit different. And so the way that it works now is you buy tickets and you have to have a reservation for the park on that day.
Oh, okay.
So you can't, from what I understand, you can't just walk up to the gate on a Tuesday and say, "I want to get into Magic Kingdom." You have to have a reservation to get in. And the Park Hopper, from what I understand, doesn't go into effect until 2:00 in the afternoon. So you have to go to your designated park and then bounce to another park.
Oh, okay.
So they still have that, and that's an additional fee on top of your ticket price.
Well, that's what we did the Park Hopper before, and then we used to do where you would add the water parks, because we would just do a whole day at the water park. The girls laughed. I fell asleep on the lazy river and just went around and around. You know what I mean? It was just so great. Water's pouring over. I was like, I don't care. Just leave me on for here for an hour. Because we're planning on going back this summer. So, it's I feel like all my plans are up in the air because of Zoe. Zoe graduates in December. Safi's in college, so it's hard to make concrete plans until I know, especially where Zoe's life takes her. Because I don't want to make plans for the summer and then, hey, I need you to help me move here or move there. So, it's a weird place to be, I guess. A good place to be, but so yeah, I think the last thing I trooped was the wedding, which I think we talked since then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a wedding coming up, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that one. From what I know as of right now, the bride and groom don't know we're coming.
Nice.
I'm working to get a couple Star Wars tracks that they can play during our entrance. It'll be 6 of us.
Nice.
So that's
possibly
nice.
7. Possibly 7. It just depends on Safi, and it's hard for me with her. It's you. If you're going to wear that suit, you have to be 100% in the mood.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know how long that will end up being there after our initial entrance into the place.
Yeah.
So there's no expectation beyond us.
Now, what characters are we going to have? What characters?
So we're going to have Jaina Solo.
Okay.
So an expanded universe character.
Is that the one like with the Orange jumpsuit.
orange jumpsuit, and the purple lightsaber.
Okay.
We're gonna have you as a TK.
Yep.
We're gonna have someone as a biker scout.
Yep.
We're gonna have two Mandos, two custom Mandos.
Okay.
So Ned'll be there as a Mando, and I'll be there as a Mando, and then we'll have our big walking carpet, Marty.
Yeah.
And I can almost imagine that he's gonna steal the show.
I hope so.
You know,
That's the best thing about trooping with Marty.
yeah.
And I say that in love. Some guys say that in disdain. I say
No,
that
I
in
mean
love.
that's why I was like I'm over the moon excited and happy for all the folks that were willing to step up and step into this, because I'd put a call out on Facebook, both in the New Jersey Rackerdan clans page and on my personal page, and the fact that some people raised their hand and said that they would help out is beyond words to me, because like I said, this is an absolute surprise. It came out because on May the 4th this year I wore a Jedi costume to work. And some people told me about this wedding that was happening in November, and they asked if I'd be interested in surprising the bride and groom. And so it's really, 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 really nice that anybody other than myself is willing to show up and help make this day very special for two cool people that are coming together, and they're three combined. Their new family. It's I can't even accurately describe how appreciative of I am. That the five of you were willing to help me out with this.
Yeah, it's that's part of that's the essence of trooping. Like I'm just happy to put my suit on. That's gonna make, if it makes one person happy, Because if you would have Boba Fett coming, I would have probably convinced Safi, if she wasn't in 000 mode, she could come as Fennec, but Fennec has to have a Boba Fett with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm disappointed that I'm not able to make it. I was really looking forward to it, and then I realized what week it was. So,
well, John, I think just you considering how far you live away, it means a lot too.
Yeah, a million times yes.
So, yeah, but that should be a fun event, and what we don't have to be there till what, like suited up by 8.
Suited up by 8, so
yeah.
I'll probably get there around 6 or whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna probably leave here. Like I get home around 4, so we're gonna try to leave here like 4:30 if I can get Safi to go.
Yeah.
Just because, like, if she goes, if I wear my TK, it's fine because I can suit up quick. But I need time to suit her up properly.
And our friend that has agreed to go is Jaina. She even said, because of my costume, I'm more than willing to help handle for everybody else. And to me, that's another sign and another example of the kindness and willingness to help out that shows up in events like this, more than the big Comic-Con conventions or baseball games at a National League stadium or something like that. I mean, this is a little bit more special, and I'm so glad that I've got you guys helping out with that.
Yeah, well, and I know, like, for me, like my TK, I used to not be able to suit up by myself, and then when I started doing a couple of events, like a Weird Al concert, I think it was, and Missy couldn't go, and so I was like, I got to retool this suit so I can put it on by myself, or at least someone that doesn't know anything can help me, and it's not going to fall off. And I know Marty, man, besides someone just giving a little, fluffing him up a little, we always joke about being his fluffer, but a little fluffing with Chewy, and he's pretty good too. So, if you want to be a Chewy fluffer, that'd be a good shirt, I guess, right?
Because Clapper Boy is already taken.
Yeah. And then we haven't talked though. So Zoe's troop time, when she got to do Alicia Keys' Halloween party. And I asked her, and she sent me 2 pictures, and that was it. And she was like, yeah, I can't talk about it because of the NDA. Like, she couldn't tell me who was there, anything. So it was funny because I got messages from 2 other people before I knew what I knew Zoe was doing a high profile thing. But I got messages from 2 other people, Sarah Young and John Rodriguez, hey, Zoe's at this event with us, so which was pretty funny, you know. And then John from the dad batch, he made sure he gave her a ride home, which was very nice because I think 90% of Zoe's money's going to Uber right now, just to get places.
Yeah.
So they wanted her to do the Christmas thing, but she's coming home then, so she was sad.
Well, if she gets that spot out there, there'll be lots more events for her to.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how
participate
December.
in.
We'll see how December rolls in for her because she'll be home. I'm hoping that it all pans out. I don't know. I am, but
Yeah. Well, I have trooped again since we spoke last.
oh yeah, what'd you do?
I had a trunk or treat event, and that was the most chaotic troop by far I've had.
Yeah. Did you have to change outside?
No, we had to change. So it was at a community college, and they originally just told us to change outside, and then they were like, "Oh, we'll have a place inside for you." And what they failed to mention was it was just like the foyer with 20-foot glass windows, and we're all just kind of like,
"All right, little time for some pressed ham."
Yeah, so we ended up having that was a great troop. We had a Jen Urso that was up visiting family from Tampa Bay.
Oh, cool.
So she was a little cold because I mean, it's mid-October and coming from Tampa to good old Northeast Ohio, it's a bit of a weather difference.
Yeah,
but I did. Oh, come on, sorry. I'm in full screen mode because I'm having trouble seeing tonight. But this is a double whammy here. Mike, I just shared that for you. I got an excellent picture that I have since turned into new cards, custom cards.
They're pretty awesome.
That's very cool.
But yeah, so I love this picture though.
Yeah,
it was
that's a good card.
That was our CO. Because like I was just kind of standing there, and they had a police car and a fire engine with the lights on, and just the way it was like reflecting off my helmet. He's like, "Hang on, stand still, but turn like a little bit towards the truck so you get the lights on your helmet."
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I was thinking about this a lot this week because of the wedding we just did and thinking of this wedding coming up. And in some ways, I think the little troops, because Zoe and I have had this discussion too, because she did an Alzheimer's walk and she said there was only like 4 of them. And out west, they have the same problem we have around here. When the big profile things roll in, everybody wants to do it. Like everyone wants to be at the con, and then it's those little ones. And I was thinking back of all these little cons or little troops I did that on paper looked like they were going to be garbage, and we just had so much fun on them,
Well, did I tell you guys about Thankful Thursday? Did I tell you about that troop? It wasn't really a troop. It was me in my costume. But...
Yeah, the cupcake truck?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good picture.
Oh, from inside the truck. I'm glad that they were willing to let me inside and not think I was going to steal all the treats.
Well, when we did the a lot of the last, what was it, I don't know if it was the last Star Wars movie or the previous one, but Safi did 000 a lot, and every movie theater we went to, I got her to get behind the counter. I said, "Can she get behind it?" They're like, "Oh, okay, sure." Like if you're ever going to rob someone, just be in a costume, because they're like, "Oh yeah,
it's no problem." She ain't running away very fast. But...
No. But
or blending in very easily.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's
yeah, we had that basically that same conversation at that trunk because we went to dinner after the trunk or treat, which so nice.
Because at the big ones, everyone forgets to go out.
Yeah.
After and I know we're all busy and we're all low on money and this and that, but sometimes that's sitting in a crappy restaurant where no one's really eating anything for 4 hours is just as much fun as the troop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like we were sitting there talking about that, where because they were like, "Oh, you're just a baby. This is your third troop." And I'm like, "Yeah, And they're like, "Well, look, you've trooped a small con, a casino night, and now a trunk or treat. Like that is more than half the people in the Legion, because at the time it was winding down on the census time,
Right.
and they were like, yeah, I mean, we're losing members, and yet you've been in for 3 months and you've already gotten 3 events in.
Yeah.
So, and none of them are like high profile events.
Right.
So yeah, I was told I was inducted into the kids table.
Yeah, but you hang around me and Ken, so that should count.
You're
You should
automatically at the kids' table.
Yeah,
factor
Complete with one leg that's shorter than the other. And you got to stack it up with some sugar packets to keep it level.
You're right. But yeah, so I the regulars, as I will call them, that I've seen at almost every troop that I've been to now. I apparently that's just about how it goes. Where there's like a core like 6 of us in the Burning River squad that like they'll show up to all the like lower profile events.
Yeah.
My goal is to get a troop in every month as best as I can. So
I did
we don't have anything in December. Like there's nothing on the calendar whatsoever in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, my best I think my best years were when the girls were doing it, and we were doing. Sometimes there were some weeks we did 3 troops, and then because it was just something we all did together. And then then at least in our garrison, when they put the giant list of rules for squires, Missy was like, "I'm out," and that kind of slowed us down a little bit because you didn't want to go trooping and leave a quarter of the band home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's cool. That's good. Yeah, I don't have anything. I'm sad I missed Air and Scare. It looked like everyone had a blast.
Yeah.
But it's just again, like I said, I feel like my life is in like a holding pattern right now, just like with everything. I got one more payment on Zoe's rent in LA, and then then it's all mine. But yeah, I got to look at the calendar, and I got to keep looking at Delaware and Maryland because I always forget how close they are, and so it's just because we don't get a lot. Our garrison somehow shifted to super eastern PA. It seems like even up north past like King of Prussia. It's like Allentown area.
Really?
Yeah, like it just seems like their troops are shifting, and then they're at least for our garrison, it seems like anyone that calls, they book events, but they don't book it with any. Like we'll have events where they'll have to cancel like 4 events because no one can show up, but they keep booking them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we have 4 events on this day and no one can show up to anyone. But here, let's add the 5th event. see what happens. So, I mean, it's but cons like we have I think it's the Science Center in Lancaster. For some reason, that's this weekend. It packs full, like tons of people. We can't do it. I can't do it this weekend. Just I got too many things to build and stuff to commit to that. But and also there's like 30 people packed in the size of a large Wawa, So, but I'm looking forward to the wedding. Get Chewy.
Did I tell you that we're gifting the bride and groom a baby Yoda? Did I tell you that?
No, but that's cool.
Yeah, so that little chest.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. The little chest holder that I made.
Yeah.
That holds the baby Yoda. I'm gonna get a wedding card that we can all sign.
Oh, cool.
And then we'll give that to them as a gift as part of our entrance.
That's fun. That's gonna be funny.
Is it a baby Bjorn? Is that what it's called? Where you carry that little thing on the front of you?
We just carried ours with our arm. I think we bought one of those when Zoe was little, and it was so uncomfortable. We are like, I'm never using this thing again. Because a kid's a pain in the neck when you're carrying them, but when they're strapped to you, it's like 10 times as worse when you want to get rid of them. Like sit them down or something.
Yeah, it's a process to get them in, and it's a process to get them out.
Yep. So that's all we got for troop time. No other events other than we have Toys for Tots. Yeah, I don't know if we used to do some Christmas ones. I don't think we have many Christmas ones. There's a couple parades. The problem is with our parades, the Thanksgiving Day parade, you have to turn in like a waiver or something, like so you can be on TV. And you have to turn it in like a month ahead of time. And I'm like, I missed the cutoff. So I was like,
there's also coming up, I think it might be in December here in Jersey, Jersey Devils hockey game.
Yeah. There's a Flyers night. It's the night Zoe's flying in. So like I could troop and then I have to go pick Zoe up at 1 a.m. I'm like, yeah.
Well, you'll be in Philly anyway.
Yeah, I'm worried about how much stuff I'm gonna have to pick her up with, because last time she's been packing in a lot of stuff. I'm trying to convince the kid to mail stuff home, so I can not need 3 cars to pick her up in. But we'll see. Make sure we're working. I was just looking at see if we're.
How about Costume Corner? What do we
Costume Corner. Let's see, Costume Corner.
Dun, dun, dun.
What are you working on, John?
Currently staying afloat. Yeah, nothing. The only thing that I am working on is trying, because there is someone who has a complete TK kit for sale in our garrison that I'm trying to get for my dad.
Nice.
But the guy hasn't messaged me back, which is really because he posted something in the Academy forums yesterday.
Yeah.
Where he was like, "Hey, I posted this for sale like 2 weeks ago for like $1,300, and he didn't have anyone interested in it. I mean, it's not a bad deal for a complete kit.
No.
And he's like, I'm willing to let this go for $600. I'm moving in 5 days. I need to get rid of it. So I immediately just, hey, saw you're selling it. Got a few questions, and then never got back to me.
Yeah.
So I messaged him on Facebook. So
I keep an eye open for him, but I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any for sale. But I listened to that guy from the New Novos. What's nice is they're going to get back to selling pieces. Like, so if someone comes across an Novos kit and they buy it and they like crack the arm, because they have all the molds. Because what I didn't understand, if you have to listen to it, because I won't do it justice, but I guess when they got the license, they also bought a Novos, the company, too. So they got all the molds and the customer base and all that kind of stuff. So, So he was saying how they're basically trying to catch up. They're trying to catch up on all the back orders from a Novos, but they're eventually want to add like blasters, and they want to go back to the TK single pieces and stuff. So I don't know. Sounds like a neat plan. I just know there's pieces a lot of guys like, because then you can find a suit that someone like miscut something. Like, I accidentally miscut my cod piece. You can just buy the cod piece.
You never want to miscut your cod piece. That's
I tell you,
bad thing.
The Novos TK kits were nice because it was hard to mess them up. Like, I helped a couple guys make them, and the lines were so crisp compared to a Moncal. But before a Novos came around, most guys were wearing Moncal, and some of their pulls were so light, you literally just had to, okay, I think that's where the cut line goes, and
yeah,
like I helped the guy with the Moncal, and we just had to put blue tape down to try to make a straight line, because you couldn't see where the was supposed to be cut, so
yeah, I love my Waltz kit.
Yeah.
Like, it's a nice kit, but he kind of has some of the same problems where it's like, I don't know where the edge is for this.
Yeah, that's the because you just get so afraid. But then you just learn how to sludge. The joy of sludge.
Yeah. I saved all the pieces.
Yeah, save every. I have a box somewhere of all my ABS pieces. Just mix up some acetone, and though that sludging is not, I'm always better at doing sludging in my mind than I am in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to sludge a seam, I recommend blue tape on both sides of the seam so you don't get any over sludge. That's my recommendation. So what you working on, Ken?
Trying to decide which version of the Dindajar and Pinto suit to do. Do I do the one with the Beskar shoulder, the one that gets
Yeah.
upgraded, or do I do the one with the Shore Trooper shoulder?
How about both?
Well, it's possible, but I was trying to figure out because I know you said you were thinking about doing a Pinto. I thought it'd be cool
Listen.
to coordinate.
You pick which one, and we'll get the files, and I'll start printing them.
Okay.
And then we'll just, you decide, and because I have the files from 3 Demons, and I would compare them to more accurate ones. But if we can use those, we can mold them.
Okay.
So because they're license free. If not, we can just go to the armory that John and I get stuff and get it from them because I know his stuff's accurate.
Mm-hmm.
But those will have to be 3D printed. I can't mold them.
Okay.
I mean, I could mold them for my use, but even for just you and me, that's way too. We don't want to pay $150 for a shoulder bell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, help me figure out how much it would cost for all the plastic, and I'll make sure I order some for you.
Well, what we can do is I'll swap. We'll figure it out. But we can just I'll print some, and then I'll send you both of our shoulder bells, and then you don't have to buy plastic. You can just clean mine up and use mine as your practice one.
All right.
Because I don't know how many spools. I don't know how many spools Din will take, but I doubt, especially the Pinto version, there's not going to be that much.
Are we all gonna have a Din Djarin costume?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have to do one of those photographs like they did with the three Spider-Mans where we're pointing at each other because we'll all have different versions of them.
Yeah.
But but I'm thinking that one there's not as many pieces as you think. Does he even have a back plate in that one?
Yeah, I think so.
Does he?
I don't think he does in the Pinto version. Anyone have an action figure floating around?
To the CRLs.
Oh, there you go. To the CRLs. I feel like it's to the Batcave.
That was the second thing that came up.
The
to the Razor Crest.
Because he doesn't have a jetpack.
No, because he's still slinging the Amblin.
Yeah.
Pre-Beskar. He does have a back plate.
He does? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I would say the back plate is going to be the most filament, but that's still not a lot.
It's extremely simple. You could do that out of Sintra.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's just a square with a small notch at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And it's slightly tapered.
Oh, okay. So that's that I can bend that on a mannequin.
Yeah. Here. That's literally all the back plate is.
Hang on, let me get lost my mouse for a minute. Oh yeah. That's not.
Yeah, that's definitely Sintra.
Yeah,
right there.
Because that I can put I can duct tape a floor mat on the dummy in my garage, and then I can just heat it up and press it and get a nice bow in it. So, but yeah, and the pistols. I think for me, I might use one of the Ruby's pistols.
Oh goodness, yeah, absolutely. Those are easy to paint up.
Because I have half dozen of them in my garage. So I painted the one with etching primer, so the paint won't scratch off, and then I'll just and then maybe print a heavier one, because I thought about molding the rubies, and then get the liquid. There's this cold metal stuff you can use in your molds, and it's almost like an aluminum. It has an aluminum feel to it, but it'll work in a cold mold and make a pistol like that, so it'd have some weight to it.
Well, it depends. I mean, are you gonna wear it, or are you gonna pose with it? Because if you're just
Well,
gonna
that's
wear it,
well, if I'm just gonna wear it, but I'm saying make two, like make like a stunt, and if you go somewhere where you're gonna be like, you know, handing it to people and stuff like that, have a little heavier one. But yeah, the rubies ones are nice, and they're pretty close to, they're pretty accurate, you know.
yeah, I have 2 of those I'm working on for my post Imperial.
Nice. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I'm glad, because I have nothing. I have to print one more belt box for Vader, but I don't. After that, I don't have any. I got to get my liquid resin printer for these Greeblies though, because I'm not happy with. I'm not happy with these aren't bad, but I'm gonna put so much time and effort into this. I'd rather try to print it with liquid resin, and so. But I got my so my time was, I worked on my chest box Tuesday. I have the front as glass smooth as I think I'm going to get it, but I have 3 print lines on the side that I just refilled in because I can't seem to get rid of those. So, and they're bugging me. So,
Did you try the acetone and Bondo? The acetone
I
and
did not, and only because I had all my Halloween stuff piled and it was in front of my acetone. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to put this on this, let it dry while I get all my Halloween stuff put away.
Gotcha.
Because my Halloween stuff is like it's out of the garage now, so I'll have more. But it took up my entire garage. So, I need a giant inflatable Razor Crest is what I need. That's what I want.
Oh, we should have Zoe go over to Magic Jump and have her talk them into that.
I know. Yeah, I might have to talk to her again and see if she's bored. She's having lunch with Judah, the guy who does all the paint work for the Mandalorian and stuff. She's having lunch with him tomorrow.
Has she met with Matt yet?
Yeah, she's had lunch with him. I think
How'd
at
that
least
go?
once. Good. And then she just has correspondence with him about, like when to go to the Disney park, and he's like big brother in it for it over there, which is awesome. So the good old Star Wars. I don't know what, but yeah, I I don't know if it's my ears or my headphones. Maybe it's my ears. It's like the sound keeps going out. So I don't know. E-Girl is playing Ghostbuster Spirit Unleashed. I've never played that. I tried Star Wars Fortnite. With the skins, the Star Wars skins. I realize I don't really like Fortnite.
Trash.
Well, it's okay. I mean, it's okay, but it's like, I don't know.
No, you can say it's not.
I can only do it for so long, and if I want to hear kids cuss, I can hear that at work all day. That's pretty much what it is. It just gives like 11-year-olds a way to cuss and say inappropriate things.
Yeah, that's what I've got Call of Duty for.
Yeah,
and work too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I played Red Dead Redemption, which I like that game, but that's another one of those games that just takes way too much time. Like, okay, I'm riding around in the field. Okay, I'm lost, and someone shoots me. But yeah, anyway, back to Costume Corner. I'm waiting on my inner robe shipped from Wendy. She sent me the thing yesterday, the tracking number, so it's supposed to be here tomorrow. So that'll give me this weekend. Will kick me in the butt to get Vader done. So Steel City, I'm still trying to get my hotel. Steel City is looking worse and worse for me every day. So we'll see. That's my I need to. Steel City needs to get more hotel rooms or something. I'm just I'm irritated with Steel City and Monroeville DoubleTree right at the moment. I cannot pay $900 for the Monroeville DoubleTree. I can't. You know.
Yeah, they've got the special rate posted on their
But it
website, but
doesn't
it doesn't work.
And I talked to Steel City and like, well, just call the hotel. And I called the hotel. Well, that's through Steel City, and it block. I'm like, so I just keep trying to get a different person because I know all they got to do is type a couple letters in, and it's like, you know. So I didn't get rid of the room yet, but I put in for a panels at Celebration for Zoe's podcast, and I have a room in London, so
no tickets, but we've applied and we've put in for a hotel room.
The last 3 celebrations, I've had 6 extra tickets every celebration.
See, these are the things that you don't say to us out loud ever. Yeah, well, no, that's right, John. Keep your headphones off because you don't want to hear him say this.
No,
you don't want to hear him talk about it.
I know. No,
because I never wanted to take advantage of Reed Pop's kindness. You know what I mean? I always bought my tickets ahead of time, and they always said, "Look, we have tickets for you," and stuff like that. And I never wanted to be that guy, you know, who. But now it's the time I'm like, damn, I really need tickets now, you know. Like,
yeah.
So, but so Chris Freed, do you know Chris Freed? I don't think you guys have met Chris Freed. He does a Vader around. He's a really good guy. He's the guy that owns a railroad. He's like my only person I ever met that owns a railroad.
We've heard the stories of the railroad.
The railroad magnate. He has like a monocle. No.
Top hat.
Top hat. He had an extra room. So he said, "Hey, Mike, well, I'm not going to get rid of this room if you decide to go, because I just got at work. We have to do these trainings for like school shooters and all this safety, like don't stand on a desk, and you know if someone bleeds on you, what to do. And if you do all these trainings ahead of time, we have what's called a flex day. So that if I do those trainings ahead of time, we're due like December 31st or something, I don't have to go to work that one day, which is the day before we're off the day, and it would make it like perfect for me to go to London. And I did all the trainings back in August. So because I misread the email, and I thought it said it had to be done before school started, and it said we will tell you when it has to be done before school starts. And so I just did them all the day before school started.
Where do you apply for the podcast stage?
So you go to the fan thing. You should apply for Best Car Bucket, and and just apply, you know.
But I'm doing right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's the fan stage and the podcast stage. Like Zoe got the podcast stage 2 years, and she got a fan stage 1 year. So.
Wait, is it on Reed Pop's website or is it on the Celebration?
You go to Star Wars Celebration, and then I forget. It's like fan something
show applications.
Yeah,
there we go. Fan panels.
Yep, there you go.
Maybe you could do a combined thing with Anthony, because I know Anthony's going.
Is Anthony going?
Yeah.
Is he doing a panel?
We didn't put in for one this time around.
Well, you should put in. You should put in. It's I think you have till the end of December to put in. What's the hurt if you get it? You know, because they'll give you time. They'll say, "Hey, you still want to do it?" Because I've gotten the emails. Like I've gotten them where I got them early, and I've gotten them where they're like, "Hey, you know, we just saw your application. You know, are you still coming?" Stuff like that. So, you know. The answer to not applying is always no. The answer to applying could be something different than no. It's like playing the lottery.
The 2.4 mega billions or whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how they choose Like I don't know how the people in Chicago. I felt the podcast stage in Chicago was more fun. Like all of us got together ahead of time, and we cross reference. Like I sent an email out as soon as we got accepted in Chicago. I sent an email out to all the people. They listed all the podcasts that were going to be on the stage. So I sent an email out. Hey, look, anyone that wants to send your promos here, and we'll stick them in our podcast. And a lot of people did it. It was a lot of fun. It was some like two dudes and Target's Top Shelf and a bunch of other people. Then this last one in Anaheim, it just didn't. It seemed like everyone was kind of out for themselves. You know what I mean? Like it was just the only person I talked to about the podcast stage in Anaheim was father and son, just because I knew them ahead of time. So
and Ajax Citizen.
Yeah, well, that was a last minute thing because I saw the girl from the Death Watch girl was going to fill in for Lizzie, and that day when we arrived at Anaheim, she got a hold of us and said, "I can't do it." You know, we got tapped to be on stage with Dave Filoni and all that as the Bad Batch, you know, and so we didn't blame her. We're like, "Yeah, well, of course," you know. So Zoe's going to do it alone. So we reached out to Axel, and Axel's like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And we just ran into Steele, and I said, "Hey, Steele, what are you doing this?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." You know, so Steele's been he's done the last two with Zoe, the last two celebrations.
That's very cool.
Yeah, Steele's a good guy. Like, you know, he's a one of a kind when it comes to that. And he's just such a nice, like he just helps her out. So I appreciate that. So, but it's weird because on the podcast stage they ask for your numbers, and I've been doing podcasts long enough. There's no true way to get your listeners' number, you know, because no one, like if you, when I had SoundCloud would give you a rough estimate of, because they didn't want you to see, well, look, iTunes is getting more plays than SoundCloud. You know what I mean? And then you would go on Chartable. I don't know if you guys have ever used Chartable.
I haven't.
Chartable is used mainly through Apple and stuff. And if you have Anchor, a lot of these charts now are almost like they're not shunning Anchor, but they don't really promote Anchor because it bothers them that Anchor is free. You know, so and then they all want money. They're like, okay, well, look, if you subscribe for $8.99 a month, we can get you the true numbers of how your podcast is doing. I'm like, oh my goodness, you know. So, I mean, going back to the whole podcasting thing, I think if podcasters think another podcast is their competition, then they don't understand the whole basis of a podcast to me. You know.
Well, that, and I think now we're at a time and place where podcasting has reached the mainstream.
Oh yeah,
and it's, I mean, look at some of the folks who I'm not even talking just Star Wars podcasts. I'm talking just podcasts in general. I mean, you have folks like politicians or you know, other folks, and they're making money hand over fist doing it. So there's that part of some podcasters' mentality that, you know, I'm gonna become the next, you know, Joe Rogan or whoever.
Yeah. Well,
not
or
to
even
name names, but
even a lot of the television shows, like the last, what was that, the Game of Thrones show. They had a podcast you could listen to about the show, and it
an official HBO one.
Yeah, they put it like right at the end of the thing, or they may even put it at the beginning. Listen to the official podcast of blah blah blah. You know, because I mean that's the best commercial you can do, is to do a podcast. You know, because the generation there's no real TV commercials anymore. And even YouTube commercials, we've all become so desensitized to just watching that counter click down that we, you know, click on that when the YouTube one goes away too. So John's filling out his application right now.
Yeah, he's not even paying attention to what we're saying.
Yeah, well,
I'm half listening. I just have my mic muted because my keyboard's loud.
That's all right. No, I mean, it's I wish I had a better. I wish I was a better press agent when it comes to filling those things out. But again, for us this time, we had no plans on going to London, and I still have no plans. But I'm like, what the heck? I might as well. What's it hurt? If it's in the cards,
Yeah, not even pretending, because that wedding that we just went to in Disney World, kind of tapped us.
yeah. Well, I just remember when I priced it, right, when they announced it, right, I was devastated at Anaheim. When you're at Celebration and you're devastated you're not going to make the next one. You know the feeling. It's like when you're leaving Disney and you're upset that you're not going to come back in a while.
Oh goodness,
Um,
I'm right now. I'm going through depression and culture shock. You spend however many days in the park where everyone is calling you friend and helping you and guiding you and giving you these 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 little things to make your time wonderful. And then the first rest stop that you stop at to get gas, and somebody elbows you out of the way to get combos, you're not in Disney anymore.
well, I have a picture of the uh, from Chicago, the one of the bugs. Remember they had the orange bug painted up like BB-8,
Yep.
and it's on a trailer. I'm walking across the hallway to get to the hotel, and I see that car and I take a picture. And that picture always makes me so sad because it's the last picture I took at Celebration. Now, on top of that, I was carrying this giant sign with me when I was walking across there. The big podcaster sign. I was carrying that under my arm at the time. But it just makes me sad because Disney's the same way. When you're at Celebration, and it's hard to explain because it's really just a con with the Star Wars theme. Like half the vendors, other than the Star Wars vendors, some of the vendors are the same vendors that you can see down the street at the con, but it's the people there.
Well, I think one of the things that makes it a little bit different, Star Wars Celebration versus other events, is for whatever reason, there seems to be more opportunities just to talk,
Yeah.
just to connect. Yes, there's all things going on, and you can go down this aisle and get a tattoo, or you can go down this aisle and buy somebody's um, stock of Princess Leia perfume, or you can go down and get an autograph of an author or something like that. And there are still moments where you're waiting in line and you're just talking with folks about the costume they're wearing, or the t-shirt they have on, or your favorite part of the Last Jedi.
Yep.
Where I don't that doesn't for me, it doesn't happen as often at those other events.
I don't know. I pretty much talk to anybody at cons.
Well, I know you do, but I'm saying it doesn't, because I've witnessed it
Not,
firsthand. But it's to me, it's definitely not the same.
yeah.
Similar, you got a lot of random people dressed up and famous people sitting at tables autographing photographs, and things like that. But Star Wars Celebration is different than those other things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's and I think with podcasting and with TikTok and with all kinds of stuff, you get to see more people. Like at Celebration, I was as happy to see Chaco from TikTok as I was to see other famous people there. Darth Chaco was there. I was like, and I ran up. It's like, hey, Darth Chaco, gonna get a picture with you and stuff like that. And it's just funny, the worlds that we build for ourselves in fandom, you know. And John's still filling out an application. You have to give your firstborn child, John. So it's
Well,
I didn't realize I had to type up a program description and a why you should pick me description.
yeah.
Oh, it's like an application. It's like you may want to pause it and give it some time to simmer, so you can.
Well, I would recommend, just because I didn't do it this time, and every time I do it, I say I should do it. I would put it all in a Word document or a Google Docs or whatever. Write it all up. So if you get it, then you know what got you in, and you use that when you apply again.
I was actually right about to just copy paste both
Yeah.
my program description and my why you should pick me description.
And I tell you what though, like the panel we saw of father and son at what was that one at Fan Expo
Fan
in
Expo in
Philly?
Philadelphia.
That was almost better produced than the Celebration ones because they had screens, they had sound. Like at Celebration, you might get a sound person if you're lucky. Depending, it just depends on the time of day. Like we didn't get a sound person at Celebration, but at a lot of these other ones, they'll have a sound person dedicated to the stage. You know, so
I would like to be around when both of you have that person come up to you and say, "Oh, you're from the Beskar Bucket. Can you can you autograph my whatever?"
well, I just I don't know. I there is an appeal to Celebration that is hard to. It's first, second. It's almost a tie between that and when I've been to Disney.
Yeah, for me, it's a close second.
Yeah.
Star Wars Celebration was special. The first one that we went to, Heather bought tickets to celebrate my 40th birthday, so that was a really cool thing. The second time we went to Celebration, I got to sit in the audience with Derek, who's our youngest kid.
Mm-hmm.
After we stayed overnight in the bowels of the convention center, and we got to sit in the second row where George Lucas was on stage, and they did a tribute to Carrie Fisher, and John Williams did a small performance, and so they're special to me in those ways. But Disney still is that one scooch, that one notch, a little bit more than Celebration for me.
Well, my last time at Disney was the Star Wars weekend. It was the first Star Wars weekend of the last season of Star Wars weekend, and it was neat because we were there for the whole week, and you would see like I only wear Star Wars shirts, but you would see more and more Star Wars shirts starting to come near the end, and it was. I wish I would have taken more pictures of when they used to dress it up because the Mandalorian helmets that were hanging up in the what's the little food place next to
it's still there, but it's been renamed and reconfigured.
Yeah, but it was like a back lot. It was almost like a back lot looking thing, but they had like pieces of X-wings sitting there and all that. It was so cool.
I think so Kathleen, I know you're listening to our show.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have any input into the Disney parks, encourage them to bring back Star Wars weekend. I mean, it's weekends.
Yes.
I mean, they've got the space for it. They've got the costumes for it. They've got the fan base for it. So let's make that happen. I thought it was a fantastic thing.
Well, I think it was the first time we went was right before Lucasfilm was bought by Disney. And the stormtroopers didn't look as good. And then the next time we went was after, and the stormtroopers looked. Yeah, the first time they looked like Ruby's stormtroopers. With the bug eyes and the big blocky helmets. So, yeah, they do it. They do it right.
I mean, when we were there, they had so many costumes. They had some clone troopers. They had Aura Singh, Zam Wessel, Boba Fett, Jango Fett, Darth Maul.
Zam
Emperor
Wessel.
Palpatine.
We ran into Zam Wessel like on Wednesday because she was testing out her costume. It was like Wednesday at like right before the park closed. We were just walking around, me and Zoe and Safi, and they were like, "Oh, it's Zam Wessel," and then she took some pictures with us, and we asked her like, "What are you doing?" She said, "Oh, we just got these. We're testing our costumes out for Star Wars weekend." And I used to like the sets, like they had the one where you put your arms in the lock so it looked like you were a prisoner.
Yep.
And they had the big bubble like an action figure because they had a Ahsoka and a Rex the one year we were there.
Yep.
And it's funny because the Rex was awesome. The Rex suit looked great and all that. But I was with a guy, and he's like, "Oh, his arm pieces are all upside down." I'm like, "Really? That's what you see?" Like, I'm a costume person, and that's I guess that's the difference between me and him. I didn't care. I guess it's the same guys that saw the biker scouts with their knees on upside down.
Yep.
Like I would have never noticed that if someone wouldn't have told me.
Well, even if you did notice it, you wouldn't make a point to mention it. Like, oh,
Yeah,
look
to
at
some stranger. Yeah, to some
yeah.
stranger you don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that was
Well, they used to have a speeder bike mounted right outside
yeah,
of
yeah.
Star Tours.
Is it not there anymore?
It's not there anymore.
No, that was a nice speeder bike.
Yeah,
That's one of those things I wish I would have taken more pictures of because it was like these static speeder bikes that people make. They put too much heavy stuff on it, and it looks like it's sitting on something. And that was just two pieces of rebar sticking in the ground, and the
yeah. It
thing
had
looked
some
good.
stuff around the base to hide
Yeah.
that.
So that was a good speeder bike.
That and did you ever stay long enough for the hyperspace hoopla?
I did not. I did not.
Oh, you missed out. It was a dance party. So
Yeah. Yeah. No.
they would play all these modern dance medleys, and the characters will come out and dance to them. I mean, Chewbacca had these big
Yeah.
glasses and an afro dancing to different songs, and Gamorrean guards came out, and Padme came out. I mean, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was so much fun, and not only that, but they also did this thing throughout the day. They had panels, just like
Yeah.
at Celebration, with whether it was the actors or the voice actors or the authors, and they had opportunities to get autographs with these folks.
We got to we sat in the parking lot at like some ungodly hour in the morning to get our free
For
ticket.
that's what,
And we got it was a toss up. Zoe she couldn't decide if she wanted to do the girl that did Sabine or Ahsoka, and she opted, which I knew she was going to opt for Ahsoka anyway. And so we got 2 passes. And then when we went there to get the picture, I just said, "Look, can you just have double time with Zoe?" You know what I mean? And that was pretty cool.
yeah, we met James Arnold Taylor, Jeremy Bullock, um, Ray Park, and I can't remember who else. All at Star Wars weekend. And I don't know what it is about my wife. I mean, I know she's special. There's no doubt about that. Um, but when famous people meet her, they remember her. So we met Ray Park, and he signed some stuff for us, and he was super nice and everything. And later on in the day, they did the cavalcade, the parade, where they all were riding on the back of Corvettes, and they had members of the 501st and the Rebel Legion in this big parade. And I can remember Ray Park driving by, sitting on the back of this Corvette, and we had plotted out our spot, and we're sitting right on the curb, front of the crowd and everything. And Ray Park leans over, and goes, "Hey, Heather." I'm like, what?
It's like,
I was with you when we met him, and he didn't remember my name.
hey, Heather and that guy.
Yeah, Heather. It's Heather and that guy. I mean, I have a picture of him pointing right at her from the back of the Corvette. And the same thing happened with Tony Todd from Candyman and Daniel Logan. Anthony was what's Danny Trejo. Like these folks remember. We meet these folks at these events, and later on in the day, they'll see her in passing and like, hey, Heather.
Well, yeah, I do this. Like we had a bunch the time we went down because we didn't know. We just like when we used to go to Disney. I only get 5 days of personal days I get 3 every year, so I can stockpile them to 5. And that's all I can take. And so I always looked on that Disney crowd counter, and there was always like a slow week in the spring. And so I'd take that week right there. So we didn't even know it was going to be Star Wars weekend, because Missy had basically dragged me to Disney the first time. I was like, I'm not spending that kind of money. And now, man, that's the only place I would want to go.
And they also had, just like Celebration, they had special merchandise. So the one year it was a plush blanket that had Donald Duck as Darth Maul and all these different things. They even had set up in the back lot behind the Tower of Terror. They had a whole shopping center that they called the Darth Mall.
Yeah, and they had giant Star Wars collector's cards mounted when you walk back.
Yep.
And then the last year we were there, they had these you would take a picture of a photograph of these banthas in the background, and they would move if you used your digital camera or something like that. It was pretty cool. Yeah, I have like the Boba Fett slushy cup holder. You know, it was Boba Fett's helmet. I got the popcorn bucket that was Han and Carbonite.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm trying to think what else. I have a couple. But yeah, they used to have some pretty cool like souvenirs. They used to have the snow speeder on the back lot tour. Remember the snow speeder sitting back there?
Yeah, that's not there anymore because that was replaced by Batu.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still finishing the application. Are you or do you plan on exhibiting at Celebration Europe?
You're not exhibiting at all. So that means if you have like a table, so you would say no.
Gotcha. And then
even though we know that you get dressed in foyers of community colleges, so you're an exhibitionist.
Yes.
But in this case, you won't be exhibiting.
And then moderator name obviously would be me. And
Yes.
then would I also be panelist 1?
No, you'd be the moderator, and then you'd be panelist 1, and then you could put like some people's names, and then I put names could change once we find out our time of we're doing it. You know what I mean? Because they can't expect you to say, "Hey, I'm going to have Daniel Logan," but I don't even know if I have a panel.
Right.
So like you'd put your dad's name, and you'd put or like because when Zoe was doing it, I put her first one because her and Lizzie weren't allowed to be on stage, so because they were under 18, so I had to put me and Sal. Star Wars Geek Girl starring Sal Perales and Mike Hinton. So, and then like Safi used to run the tape player, so I put her down as a producer. They're going to give you like 6 tickets if you get it, and then you just can't sell them or
Right. Well, Mike Hinton and Ken Bishop as the panelists.
There you go. Beskar bucket. Maybe if you get it and Zoe doesn't, I might have to be angry. No, I'm just kidding. It just means I didn't write it up as well. I should have had her write it up, but what are you gonna do? She got too many other things. She was sad because she wrote her last college paper yesterday. So
sad.
That kid likes to write. She's in with a group of people in California, and they were complaining that the professor never gives A's. And I said, Zoe, what's your grade in that class? She said 100%. I said, did you say anything? She said, nope. I said, good girl. She's the one that kills the curve. She gets that from her mother. Missy got straight A's in every class except one she took with me. Because it'd be like, it was an 8 a.m. Music 100 class. And we get up and I'm like, do you just want to go to the mall? And the worst thing about failing a Music 100 class when you're 18 is having to retake it when you go back to college when you're 30 and you realize how stupid I was at 18 for not passing the class. So Disney weekends, man, I think they should bring those back, but who knows? I just want them to see them open up Marvel campus in Florida because Zoe really loved the Marvel campus. I know a lot of people were bitching about it, but Zoe really liked it. Okay, how about Andor? Can we do Andor?
Well, do you want to talk about Andor? Or do you want to talk about Tales of the Jedi?
Oh, Tales of the Jedi. I forgot about that. Tales of the Jedi were good. Like, hey, Ark's finally here. Yeah, he heard we were going to talk about clones possibly with Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah,
I'd have to say, like, if someone told me they were going to do a Dooku arc and an Ahsoka arc, and I was going to be hard pressed to tell you which one I liked most, I wouldn't have believed it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the best things I think that's happening now with all the stuff we're getting, I don't think we have to play that game of what we like more anymore.
You're correct.
Like there's just so much of it, and they're doing such a brilliant job of connecting the pieces that it is becoming a ginormous, beautiful mosaic. And it's hard to look at one tile on that mosaic and say it's awesome compared to the other tile, 15
Yep.
inches away.
Yep.
It's just, and when you step back far enough, it's incredibly beautiful and detailed and structured and organized, and it's phenomenal what they're sharing with us now.
Well, and the Ahsoka, to me, I know some people complained about how it didn't quite match up with the Ahsoka novel. I thought it matched up enough for me. You know what I mean? Like I was, I always think about these stories, and it's similar to when the Bad Batch didn't match up with the Kanan comic. I always think of every time we see a different version of a story, it's told by a different person. So you're going to get, like, it seemed in
The
a comic
unreliable
book.
narrator.
Yeah, in a comic book, it was narrated by Kanan's memories. Where this one was, and that what was that, the Inquisitor. That I love that design of that Inquisitor.
The bird-looking one.
Yeah, because it
And
almost
they
was
never
like,
identified who that was, did they?
well, I'm assuming it's the one from the book. Did you read the book?
Yep.
So remember, she got his saber. And I will say, the new modern Star Wars of not having to have us watch a whole long stupid battle when Ahsoka is way more trained than that guy, and she just pretty much made short work of him. I like a good 1980s style battle where, like, the good guy gets shot up 50 times and still wins. I enjoy that too, but it is nice to see her with her skill to make short work of something that everyone else would be running in fear from.
Well, I thought that was a great homage to the early samurai stuff, and even to the battle between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul.
Yeah.
In Twin Sons.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm saying that was just such a good battle. It was, and the animation was beautiful. It made me miss the Clone Wars.
I hope they figure out something else to do in that style.
Oh yeah.
I
wish
know
they
we're getting
would.
Bad Batch, which is in that style, but I hope they just do more with it.
I wish they would have. In some ways, I wish they would have stretched those episodes out once a week.
Well, I would have loved to have seen one of those episodes be an hour long, because there's, and at the same time, I'm impressed with what they were able to share in 15 minutes.
Yep.
Each one of those things was 15 minutes long, and
Yep.
we got so much. Whether you're talking about so much about a specific character, or so much about an internal conflict, or so much about the greater conflicts that are going on.
Yeah, with the Dooku one, I didn't realize that was Qui-Gon right away. Like, I was like, oh, I guess this guy's going to get killed, and that's when he gets Qui-Gon. That's what I was thinking, because I was trying to picture how old Dooku was, because Lucas and Star Wars is very loose on people's ages sometimes. You know what I mean? When it comes to, which is fine. I'm not, so I was like, oh, I guess that guy's going to get killed. And then, but that was just such a good, like, it made me respect Dooku a little more, maybe. I mean, other than getting rid of Yaddle, but that's where I think if they would have taken the Dooku one and did one a week for 3 weeks or whatever, I think the battle with Yaddle, the Yaddle battle, we'll call it, would have been even more powerful, because it would give you 2 weeks to think, you know what, I really do agree with Dooku, and Dooku's doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden he does that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it would allow you to mull it over and debate it with yourself, or share the ideas with other folks. And it's still quite amazing to think that many of those stories, some of the power comes down to those opportunities for each of those characters to make choices.
Yep.
Well,
and Dooku's I guess you call it his fall. but you could blame his fall on the Jedi.
Oh goodness, yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know, it goes back to that line from Obi-Wan, from a certain point of view.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things I think is brilliant about Star Wars, and has always been, you know, brilliant about Star Wars, is the opportunity to see the different possibilities and the results of the choices that get made.
Yep. And Dooku had a cool outfit though. I think I said that before, but Dooku's outfit was pretty cool. I'm curious with the I'm always curious with the Jedi Order because they seem like to be so rigid, except for there's always outlier people. You know what I
Well,
mean?
it's the rebellious part of it, the, you know, breaking from tradition or from the dogma and so on. And in both ways, Ahsoka and Dooku are similar in
Right,
that they were rebellious to a certain degree,
right.
but not necessarily rebellious in the same directions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the Ahsoka line, I like the first one. It was good for me, but I was like, but when she was older, those two I really liked. The one where she was training against the clones.
Oh, practice makes perfect.
Yeah, that was
Mhm.
the best of just making her who she is. And sometimes I wonder if some of those are a big like F you to these crazy fanboys that just nitpick, like, how could Ahsoka face all those clones and win? You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, okay, well here's how, you
Well,
know.
I think in some ways Ahsoka's been a big fu to the fanboys since the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there were so many people that did not like that character when she first showed up in the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I was telling you guys this or somebody. So I have those old videos of Dave Filoni on TV Guide that came out when the Clone Wars premiered, and there's those interviews of him, right? Have I ever showed you those videos?
You've talked about him, but I
Mhm.
don't think you've shown him to us
Yeah.
yet.
So anyway, but he's wearing an orange shirt with the Ahsoka symbol on it. So this is what, 2008, 2007?
Had to be earlier than that because I think the show came out in 2008.
Yeah, whenever.
So they were
But
working on.
it's the same symbols they use for Fulcrum in Rebels. And I can't believe I'm such a moron that then I didn't see that instantly. I thought, oh, it's Ahsoka. So I don't know. Oh, I mean, I've said this before. I remember Zoe arguing with 501st members that would be trying to tell her that Ahsoka sucks. Imagine a grown man in stormtrooper armor arguing with a 6-year-old about, or 7-year-old, I guess she was at the time, about this, and I was like, come on, buddy.
Well, there were so many things so many pieces that they got nitpicky about, like, you know, Anakin having, you know, an apprentice, and how come the
Yeah.
apprentice wasn't in the prequels, and how come he never mentioned it in the original trilogy, and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, they fixed. It's funny how it's just funny. Like, I just remember at Chicago seeing the love and reception of Phantom Menace, and I loved Phantom Menace from the day I saw it, first day. But I remember that's not how most of the fans were. It's
Mhm.
like the fans. There's the fans that just love it for the love it, but there is a big group of fans that are almost like they look to see what the crowd's doing before they put their vote in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Or they're the first in line to talk about how bad it is, and for whatever
Yeah.
reason, even the first couple episodes of Andor, you know, people were on their megaphones saying that this is, you know, too slow, and
The
it's
same
not
people that were
Star
saying
Wars enough.
the same people that were saying Obi-Wan didn't have enough backstory and stuff. So yeah.
Although I haven't read any or seen any negative stuff about Tales of the Jedi.
No, I haven't either. I think someone complained it was too short. I think I saw something, but But I think
That was
like
John. John complained it was too short.
Yeah, it was too good to be only 15 minutes apiece.
yeah.
That's and like I'm not mad that it was as short as it was, as more so I'm just mad that I want more.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you
Yeah.
think about it, it's not that much shorter than a regular episode. Because what's an episode? 22 minutes or something like that, with
Yeah.
commercials and stuff like that. But yeah. But again, I still wish they would have if I had a complaint, which is not a real. I wish they would have let it just flow out. Like, here's one, see another one next week, see another one next week. Just
Yeah.
because I just like having new stuff to watch. Because I sat down and watched them all back to back, which was great. But but Andor, Ark saw all of Andor now. He's caught up. So,
Nice.
but Andor is another one of those ones where it does seem like the critics of Andor have kind of shut up.
Well, maybe they've just gotten too tired from how slow the show is.
Maybe. But see, I was thinking Andor, what's nice about Andor, and I said this before, it's like the other shows that everyone was watching at the time. It's like the Lord of the Rings show and the House of the Dragon show. They're all kind of at that same pace. Like, here's a lot of depth, and we're going to pack this in as much as we can. And I just felt bad that Andy Serkis couldn't swim.
I know. I was so sad.
Yeah, but
And I thought they were a little too merciful on those dudes that took way too much happiness and shock in them. Like, I'm surprised that Andor let those two dudes live in that room.
Oh, the control room. I was saying the same thing to Heather tonight when I watched it the second time with her. Like, of all the people to let anyone go, I'm surprised that it was Andor that made that decision.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just surprised they weren't like murdering those guys, and I'm surprised no one took the shoes.
Well, at that point they didn't need them.
I understand, but I was just like, I'd grab me someone turns on the safety switch or something like that. But yeah, that was a good episode. I mean, and we still have was that episode 10?
That was episode 10. We have two more, and
two more.
The two more, from what I understand, are the season finale.
Oh, just one episode, but it's going to be long.
No, it's two episodes, but it'll be considered the finale for it.
Because we got to see what happened to whatever that girl's name that they were trying to turn into a vegetable.
Bix.
Yeah.
And Marva. Marva was sick.
Yeah. Well, I still have mixed feelings about the I don't know the names yet. The Imperial woman in white.
Deidre?
Yeah, I still have mixed feelings about her because, again,
what's mixed?
Well, I know she's doing evil and all that kind of stuff, but I think there's a lesson in there in the sense that somehow she is, and I don't know if it's when she was talking to that guy, so somehow she has a relative that's higher up or something like that. And stuff like that. But I also wonder, is she fighting against prejudice? Like, is there sexism in the, like, it feels like she's doing a better job than everyone, and she's still not getting 100% of what she's owed. Like that little scrawny guy who wound up being a spy, like he kind of took over her little thing there. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I just feel there's a message in there. It's not, don't join the Empire and be evil, but there is a message, like a cautionary tale of how maybe women get treated in the workplace or something.
Well, I think those things are peppered throughout the whole darn thing.
Yeah.
Even if you go back to the original ones, I mean, think about how strong of a character both Leia and Mon Mothma were.
Yeah.
Yet they didn't get nearly as much screen time or development as the boys did.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
you saw Princess Leia witness the destruction of her entire planet, and she didn't cry a single tear on screen. But when Obi-Wan Kenobi got cut in half, Luke screamed out no and started blasting at people.
Yeah, he had known him for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. However long that flight was from
Yeah.
Tatooine to
Another thing that Lucasfilm is known for is time doesn't really matter either, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
No, but that's my with her, and again, it goes into that adage of the bad guys don't know they're the bad guys kind of thing.
It's funny that you bring that up because so early on it was everything by the book, everything by the letter, everything very organized and structured. Yet episode 7, maybe it wasn't 7. I think it might have been episode 9 when they started talking about that plan to fake the pilot's death.
Right.
So you've got this law-abiding, law-creating empire, and now you're going to be okay with a murder plot.
Right.
So it's these little things that I find very fascinating on both sides, both the rebel side as well as the empire side. It's really just two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Because they haven't painted the rebels as a really nice bunch either.
Like, look at the things Luthen's willing to do.
Yeah, I don't understand. See, that's the thing. Like after this episode, I'm like, man, I got a different thought on him too, because he's like, that dude's like, that one guy's like, look, I've been helping you, and I'm just like, I can't do it anymore, And Luthen's like, yeah, we don't care, we don't, like,
you're gonna keep helping us, or
yeah. So, which I understand. I'm just saying, it's just the black and white. It's just gray. You know what I mean? Like, and they have different goals, but they're, which is unfortunately, which is more realistic than we care to know. Like in the big scheme of things, not the individual stuff. You have people individually, fighting for good and all this, but these big entities of whatever. So I just want to see more Saul, more, in the. Because he still has to get messed up. Like he still has to, he has to lose his ability to breathe in both his legs, I think, still.
Yeah, both feet, yeah. Mm-hmm. He needs robo feet at some point. I think that's going to come in season 2.
Yeah, well, Zoe was telling me one time, I guess there was like a non-canon story or something in a book that some of it had to do with what they did on Geonosis or something like that, is where Saul got messed up with some of those chemicals they used to burn out remember in Rebels, they were basically tried to destroy all life on Geonosis to hide the building of the Death Star or something. Mm. Though I don't know why they just didn't blow it up with the Death Star, but hey,
Well, I don't think the Death Star was complete at that point.
That's true, yeah.
Because the Geonosians, from what I remember, the Geonosians were involved in some of the early construction of it.
Right.
And then when the Senate found out about it, they had to move it and stage some sort of event there that eradicated the Geonosians. Yeah. And Saw went back and found, I think it was like Click Clack.
Yeah,
and the one egg. So it was just those two members of their entire species that were still alive. And Saw wanted to kill them, and the rebels didn't allow it.
Yeah. Yeah, Zoe was saying somewhere where there was a story of something happened with the poison, and that's some of the stuff that messed up Saul's breathing or something. Because they used to have a lot of these little mini stories that would come out like around the movies, try to give you backstories and stuff like that. It's probably on a book on my shelf here somewhere.
I did find it interesting that one of the things that they've said about this series is there's not a lot of Easter eggs or whatever. But we've had three episodes in a row that are almost a major homage or homage to THX 1138.
Yeah.
And it's right there in our face. The white pristine look of the prison and the humans being forced to build things. And
I mean, I don't know. I can't. I have no complaints. I mean, it's a good show because it's always over before I realize it, and I always want more when it's over. So, you know,
And they haven't been tiny shows either. They've been like what, an hour long each, roughly speaking.
yeah.
I think 45 minutes is about the average.
Yeah, and then there's like the 10 minutes of credits.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah, we have Black Panther tomorrow at 10. So
AM.
PM.
Oh,
So. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out when I'm gonna watch it. I thought about going back tonight to watch it because I'm usually the one that does the quality checks.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a good job.
Well, not when it's either come into work 3 hours early or stay 3 hours late or go in at midnight.
Oh yeah.
We probably won't see it until Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Well, when they used to, if you listen to some of these guys who used to work at the theaters in when Phantom Menace was released, and they would load the film, in the cameras, and you would listen to some of these guys where like the film would split, so they would cut sections out and splice it together, and then they kept that. So these guys have actual 35 millimeter pieces of the Phantom Menace,
Yeah.
So.
What else did you guys like about this last episode, or even this last arc? These last 3 episodes in the prison.
The one thing I will say is specifically this last episode, or it has been good at triggering emotions thus far, but this episode was the best by far because the entire time it felt like oh my God, am I gonna have a panic attack watching this? Because they did such a good job building tension and suspense that I was on the edge of my seat, like, oh my God, what's actually gonna happen? Because we haven't met all of the characters from the prison, but the ones that that we have met, I'm like, I don't know if any of these guys are gonna make it out, other than Melchi and Andor.
Yeah, I pictured a big slaughter. Like I was like, and I liked how they kept us in the dark. Like we were almost like prisoner 2 cells adjacent. Like we didn't really know what was going on, but they just showed you enough. Always tucking this in here, and they were sawing at that little thing. You're like, what are they doing that for? But yeah, that was. And Andy Serkis, man, I don't know why he's not in more stuff.
Right.
Like he's such a good character in that.
Yeah, I hope they find a way to get him off of that prison.
Yeah, I'm curious what's going to happen on that because, like, they basically just got from there to this little island. Unless there's like a bunch of them that escaped over time with a little ship or something. I'm like, the only thing I imagine is what's his face is going to save him. Luthen is going to save.
We know that they still have that space battle that was in the trailer. We haven't seen that space battle yet.
Mm-hmm.
And to one of your points earlier, they didn't kill all the guards in that one tower that they were in. So those guards, I mean, the prisoners had to be transported to the prison somehow.
Yeah, with those little
imprisoned
shuttle ships. Maybe they'll find a big pile of shoes.
Like after a Tough Mudder run.
Yeah, the ship dumps, and it dumps them off, then it just goes and tips a little bit so all the shoes, fall onto the thing.
Well, maybe they'll come to a pile of Yeezys now that Adidas has cut ties with Yee, and they just got all those lying around somewhere. Can't sell them. Might as well give them to convicts,
right?
Or ex-convicts.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do. I mean, because it's going to have to end. My imagining is the cliffhanger is going to almost be similar to the end of Solo, when you basically see the birth of the rebellion with all that coaxium that Han gives them.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it has to end with that, like that birth of of the.
Yeah, I don't know, because the other thing that I'm wondering about, so you've got Luthen, who told, or not, Luthen's um, partner at the antiquity shop. What's her name?
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Clea. So
Clea, yeah.
she told Vel to kill Andor,
Yep.
and Cinta is on Ferrix looking out over Marva, and so they're waiting for something to happen there. So whoever finds Andor will. I mean, we know he doesn't die, but what is that discovery going to be like? What is that?
Well, I still think they're going to, because they mentioned the tunnels into that building. That's how they're going to get that girl out of there. The building that the Imperials are using to torture people.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in one of the episodes, his mother mentioned like tunnels to get in there or something. Or she was looking for tunnels, or she was looking for something. Remember? You guys remember that? And so I think that's going to be that. But what's the Zam Wessel? What's the race of those creatures?
That change
Claudites.
Yeah. What if Cassian does get killed and it just winds up being one of those in Rogue One?
Like a Kree?
Yeah.
from Secret Wars?
No, just to really piss people off.
Well, I'm wondering, speaking of the tunnels, and we just learned that Marva's not taking her medicine. Is it possible that she's sneaking into the hotel to give her medicine to Bix to help keep Bix alive?
That could be. I was thinking she was using it to like make some kind of bomb.
Well, we still haven't seen the riot on Ferrix either.
Yeah.
We know that's coming. So we haven't
yeah.
seen the riot on Ferrix. We haven't seen the space battle with Luthen's ship and that vintage, not vintage, but that concept Star Destroyer that was designed by Colin Cantwell. So we haven't seen those things yet. So there's the next two episodes have a whole lot of stuff to cover.
We'll bring Darth Vader and he'll just chop a bunch of them up in the hallway. That's it. I was going to end everyone.
Yeah. Speaking of things that we haven't seen yet, and I kind of want your guys' take on this. Like we still haven't seen that, the Cassian that we saw in Rogue One. Like he's still kind of that reluctant hero-esque character, like I'm kind of in it for myself guy as opposed to the selfless rebel that we see in Rogue One.
See, I think we just saw in this episode the spark that creates that Cassian, because in this episode, and well, this whole arc, it has required a team to get out,
right?
Even to the point where Andy Serkis's character said, "If you see somebody that's confused, help them. If you see somebody that's lost, help them." And so it required a team to be successful. And I think Cassian is finally getting to that place where there is no hiding anymore. The Empire is coming for everybody, and we just can't sit back anymore and let it happen.
Well, and I think the other thing, I think that guy having a stroke might have triggered him a little bit, and I picture his mom giving him some like final send-off speech
Before she dies?
Yeah, before she dies or before she sacrifices herself. You know what I mean? Like I picture that being like his final, like little whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Because they seem to be making a big deal about her where she wouldn't really have to be as like they kind of just keep giving you a little tweak about that character. You know what I mean? Like and I always look at what they show you in the previews. Like when you're watching the episode, they always show you what happened previously. And sometimes if you watch it, you're like, well, that didn't really apply to anything that we saw today. But they're just keeping a thread alive. You know what I mean? They're like, just remember this, remember this.
Even with that, they meant this episode didn't have Marva in it. They didn't show her, but they talked about how she's not taking her medicine and she's hiding it, and you saw Cinta standing outside and noticing the I think it's she noticed an Imperial spy who
Yeah.
was noticing her paying attention to Marva.
Yeah.
Because I think they're all assuming that Cassian may try to come back. So it's so rich and deep and wonderfully constructed.
Well, and I think I got to look at once it's over. I think in December, when Zoe's home, we're gonna rent a theater again, and maybe do as many Andors as we can fit into the 3-hour window, at a movie theater, just to either that or the first season of Mando. I haven't decided.
Well, by that, no, season 3 comes out next year. Never mind.
Yeah, but I would like to see Mando in the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's nice. It's nice
Yeah,
on the big
yeah.
screen.
well, and Zoe's supposed to have lunch with Brandon Wayne sometime next week too. So maybe she'll have him on the show again.
Must be
Yeah,
nice.
just take a drink. Just take a drink, John. You need to stay hydrated.
Hey, listen. I told you.
I know. Look, no matter how many times you say it, it doesn't make it sting any less.
I know. I'm sorry, but
we're just gonna call you Salt from now on.
I've been at this game for way too many years.
What, 7 years now?
7 years. 7
Yeah,
years.
but you could
months.
do all that stuff and not rub it in with us.
I know, but
because
it's hard not to.
we listen to her show. We know who's on it. So
Well,
you
yeah,
don't have to tell us ahead of time that she's having lunch with him and not having lunch with us. You don't have to tell us that he's going to be on her show again and not ours. We already know that because he's not.
I sent out a whole bunch of badgering emails this week.
Oh, please do tell.
No, not yet. I'll see how they badger up first.
I'll just wait till they show up on my my podcast feed. Like, oh, that's who we couldn't talk to.
Yeah. Well, I still have a few.
Speaking of podcast guests, Ken, who is going to be on the next show of The Forces Behind Star Wars?
Ah, yes.
So we don't have any guests. What we're going to do is get together and talk about all of Andor at some point. And I'm still making moves to get the rambling Star Wars fan off the ground as well.
What was that?
Lord Vader.
Oh, that was my my alarm that I have to take my my nighttime medicine.
Oh, well, I want to hear Anthony's have you watched the Toys That Build America?
Not recently, no.
Because the new season had a good episode or two on video games, and I want to hear Anthony's opinion of that. I'll have to wait till next time Anthony's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania for his vacation. It's weird that him and his wife vacation 10 minutes from my house. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's a nice little town.
I don't know. I got it's all right. I'm just not. I'm not an Amish person. Growing up with Amish is not the same as good.
Well, speaking of Amish, I'm surprised that you didn't mention what today's celebration is.
What is it?
Today's National Scrapple Day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, we used to get Scrapple in 5-gallon tubs where I used to work, and we would cut it up, and there would be clumps of hair in it that we would have to take out. So that pretty much, even when I ate meat, that cured me from Scrapple. Yeah, Scrapple. Yeah, because
that's a Pennsylvania Dutch thing.
Yeah, Scrapple and shoe fly pie. Have you had shoe fly pie before?
No, never even heard of it.
It's good. It's brown sugar, molasses. You heat it up and put some whipped cream on it. It's really good. Shoe fly pie is really good.
I'll take that over Scrapple.
Scrapple, I'd stay away from Scrapple. But they make vegan Scrapple. Can you believe it? I was at Whole Foods and it had vegan Scrapple. I'm like, really? Because it's basically scraps of meat with cornmeal. So it's I don't know, you know, but yeah, they sell at
So,
Whole Foods in
so
like,
what is in vegan scrapple?
well, it's
Nothing.
Please
There's
tell me.
nothing in it.
that's it's I don't that's what I'm saying. Is it real? Like, is it scraps of tofu? I don't even understand because
Wouldn't
like
that just be tofu?
yeah, when I used to eat scrapple, we used to eat scrapple when we were kids, and you would slice it really thin and you would grill it, and then we would eat it with like pancake syrup on it. Because it's not. I guess it's an acquired taste, but it's not a good taste. It's kind of like when you eat liver. Like we used to eat liver. It's like, I don't know, but yeah, good old scrapple. Yeah, but yeah, there's vegan scrapple. I'll have to try it. But I was
Walnuts,
never.
cornmeal, and chickpea flour.
Is it? Yeah. Well, see, the vegan stuff you can make taste like anything. Like, you know,
But if you've been raised a vegetarian, right?
yeah,
Who hasn't eaten meat products?
right.
Why would you want to eat a product that tastes like something that you don't want to eat?
Well, see, and I think that's the difference. So when you're raised vegetarian, that stuff is probably repulsive. Like to me, the first time I ate a um vegan, what's it called? The Burger King ones,
The
the
Impossible Burger?
the Impossible Burger. I almost got sick because it tastes like meat. Because the thought of the taste of I've been vegan for so long, but the plus there is like there's vegan chicken patties, right? That we keep in the freezer. So if someone comes over, we can make them chicken patties and it tastes like chicken. And they're not like to me, tofu is really good because I've been vegan long enough. When I first went vegan, I needed those like vegan staple like that almost tasted like meat to get me to the place where I didn't want it anymore. You know what I mean? Like I'll make shepherd's pie, vegan shepherd's pie. So I make vegan gravy and mashed potatoes and all that, and I'll put in seitan, which is it's a stuff made out of wheat gluten. So as long as you're not like having gluten intolerance, and you can flavor it with anything. I usually flavor it with soy, but it gives that texture of like having meat because you're just used to that as a comfort food, you know. So I think that's what those are made for. But some of them, like the Impossible meat, is not the greatest. It's not super healthy. Where there is a company called Gardein, and their stuff is healthier. Like it's made of like John was reading like chickpea and stuff that's good for you, and it has a flavor of stuff you know. But if you're not careful, a lot of that fake meat, you might as well eat meat because it's not any better for you. It's just over processed stuff. So
How do you spell seitan?
SE SEA, I don't know.
So it's not Satan?
It's not Satan like the devil, no.
Okay.
Because there's a shirt that says "All Hail Satan," and then it's a pentagram made out of forks and knives and stuff, which is pretty cool. But Satan, I
Not
like
today, Satan.
but Satan, like I could make something out of Satan. But like if I make what we call meatloaf, it's made with walnuts and tofu and a bunch of stuff, and it has the feeling of meatloaf, So I'm sure if you ate it, you'd be like, "This is disgusting." But for me, it's that comfort food that you had when
Yeah,
you
but
were a
I've
kid.
been to your house and had the not nacho cheese
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah,
the the not manwiches.
yeah. Well, the manwiches are made. That's made with I think it's a seitan based from that's from Gardein. That's Gardein. That's the healthier stuff. It's just they're called beef in quotes crumbles, and they're nice. Like if I just want to make a taco salad and I don't just feel if I just want some texture, you know, like but if I make like Parmesan cheese for something, I make it out of crushed pecans and nutritional yeast. So it's good for you, and it also gives you a little bit of that flavor, and because your brain just gets wired. Like I grew up where everything revolved around a meal. Like the meal was the centerpiece, and when I went vegan, food starts to look different. Like if we have a party, the food is just secondary. So, but you have to. I had 40 some years of the food being the primary you know, and I was a cook for 9 years. So it just, you had to change. I had to change all, like how I thought and everything, you know, so it's not for everybody, but for me, it works out. Plus I don't have to, you know, I don't have to buy meat, which is pretty expensive. Like I can buy a lot of chickpeas for what it costs to buy. You know, I can make chickpea steaks, crush them up, and you know, fry them up and make some. You know, like I make crab cakes out of hearts of palm. So it's a plant. So
I still
Not
think it's
for
so
me.
funny that you still call it that thing that it's not.
yeah, well, I mean, and that's mainly just because what do I call it? Like if I said, hey, come over and have, like, what do I call sloppy Joe? What's the veg? Come over with vegetable stuff in sloppy Joe mix. It's just, I just call them sloppy Joes.
They're sloppy Jims.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I have the best. Even if you don't want to go vegan, if you go to oh man, there's a whole series of food. Thug Kitchen. That's what it is.
Oh
Thug
yeah,
Kitchen.
I have that cookbook on my shelf.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of Thug Kitchen, but their Pinterest and stuff is funny. I mean, as long as you're not offended by profanity, their stuff is hilarious, you know, and it's good food. Like that's one of those ones where if you cook it and stuff like that, you don't have to say to someone, "Oh, here's the vegan stuff." They'll just eat it.
Yeah.
Like we used to make some. There was some stuff, vegan stuff, we would make. Like I would make vegan mac and cheese with cashews, and it's really good. It tastes like a spicy mac and cheese. And we would take it just for us at a picnic, and people would eat it all. And we wouldn't get to it. I was like, we can't do that anymore because like one bowl costs like $20 to make because the cheese is made out of cashews. You know, it's not like Kraft mac and cheese for.
Oh, is that you said that's a cheese made out of? Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
you don't want to say we're having pasta and nut cheese.
Yeah, you don't want nut cheese, but I think the stuff you had, the cheese, the nacho cheese I made, that was out of sweet potatoes.
Okay.
That was sweet, and I love sweet. Even before I was vegan, I love sweet potatoes. Like I could eat, you know, like I could eat roasted beets and potatoes and sweet potatoes. Like if you just put all three of those in a pan and roast them till they're nice and soft, I could just eat those for days on end. Even before I was vegan, it's just, you know, potatoes. We were the Italian family that grew up on potatoes. You know.
Hey, potatoes are good.
Yeah.
Love me some potatoes. You can still eat potatoes, right?
Yeah. My students
Nice.
are like, man, my students are like, well, can you eat? And they'll just start listening. I was like, I can eat anything I want. I can eat, like, there's tons of
Boil them,
unhealthy
steam
food.
them, cook them in a stew.
I can eat Oreos. They're vegan.
Get out of
Swedish
here. There's
fish?
no way.
Oreos are one. If you get a regular pack of Oreos, you will not find a natural ingredient probably other than sugar. It is just a list of chemicals.
There's no dairy in the cream
that is
filling?
that is some chemicals. That is magic science, brother.
Look, I mean, you're talking to someone who really doesn't care.
Right.
But
Which is fine, but you know, like,
So look at that, John. You've been eating vegan. You've been eating vegan desserts
You've
this
been
whole
vegan
time.
for,
Didn't even know it.
you know, because I think Lizzie used to joke around on Zoe and her show that, like, look, I've been vegan for 20 minutes because she was eating Oreos or something like that. Now, I think some of the flavored Oreos you got to be careful, you know.
Yeah.
And
The
like
turkey ones.
depending on which what is it, Pop Tarts? Some Pop Tarts are vegan, some because they use a gelatin made from beetles. You know, so you got to be careful. Like gelatin.
What?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Did you say beetle jelly?
Yeah, it's gelatin. It's beetle insides. For a type of gelatin.
Hold on. Let's backtrack here. Other than the fact that sounds weird, you Beatles is a line you're not willing to cross.
No, I won't eat. I see at my house. I'm probably the most vegan. I won't even eat honey. Like Missy will eat honey once in a while. So I won't eat anything that comes from animals at all.
But they're not animals; they're insects.
It's an animal. Any living thing other than plants, I will not eat.
Beetles, huh?
Well, and there's a
Beetles.
lot of, like, pretzels have beaver urine in them. Certain pretzels have a stuff to make them brown. It's used from beaver urine or one of their urinary whatever.
What
Stuff
are
like
you?
that.
You're making this up.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Mike, you have said some outlandish shit on this show. This is the most out of
No.
pocket,
No.
left field things
Listen,
you have ever
this is
said.
this is all I tell people. It has nothing to do with you. No one has to go vegan. I'm happy to be vegan. Everyone else can eat meat. But the one thing it taught me to be vegan is learn what we eat. Like, because in this country, we don't really like. If you go to other countries, they have true protections of what gets put in food compared to us, and they and so I just read labels now. I've just naturally, if I pick up, like, if I go to, like, hey, that looks
I've
like
never seen beetle urine or beaver urine.
no, but
in
I forget what
pretzels.
it's called. Here, let me get the let me.
I need this to be verified because this sounds made up. Like, I understand the gelatin thing because that's made out of like horse hooves and stuff like that. But I've
Yeah,
never
once
heard
again,
about
The
beetle
Don
jelly,
Johnson stories are plausible, but this is too far.
beaver
Well,
urine.
the beaver. There's also something from beavers that go into vanilla, artificial vanilla. Let me see what it's called.
I'm not even going to Google that because I don't want that to show up in my history.
It's
Is there
called
beaver urine in my pretzels?
it's called castoreum. Castor, I don't know. Comes from the castor sacs of the male and female beavers, and it's listed under natural flavoring. Now this just says ice cream, but they were used. It was also used for something with browning pretzels. I don't know if it's how. I think it's mainly like those super duper cheap pretzels you get, but natural flavoring is can be covered with under that. So I don't
Beaver
know.
urine.
Beaver urine. Who'd have
Yeah.
thunk?
Which again, listen, none of this stuff's going to hurt you. I just, but it's just a choice I made years ago when I decided not to eat animals that I just was going to try to eat as few as possible. You know, nothing against anything about anyone can eat whatever they want. I tell my students that's just more meat for them to eat if I don't eat it.
Beaver urine and beetle enzymes.
Yeah.
Gelatin.
There's some
beetle
cool
gelatin.
stuff though, like there's that. I used to have a passage I had my students read about when they used to splice DNA of spiders and goats, and they could skim something off the goat's milk to help make thread for Kevlar.
Mm-hmm. I did know about that.
Like
That sounds
the
like
weird.
something from a comic book I read.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like it's the. I used to use that in my science class to get kids interested in science. I was like, look, this is what is really happening. You know what I mean? Like this is not from a comic book. This is what people were doing. You know.
I have heard three things today, two on this show that I
Okay,
could have
let's hear 'em.
died. I could the third one I'll tell you guys off the air.
Okay. All right.
But that one's not. That's
Yeah.
NSFW.
Okay.
But the three
Beaver
things I
urine
could
is
have
the
died-
threshold. Is that what?
Yeah, beaver urine is the threshold. But I could have died happy not knowing any of these three items. But
Well, when I
here
worked
we
at
are.
when I worked at the restaurant, they used to put out the all the different rules for food inspection. And I found an article and it said gross facts about what food inspection means, and I would hang it in the break room just to gross people out. But it was like, to be a grade A hot dog, it can have 5% rat
feces.
filth or filler, which 5%. But I used to put, then I would write next to it, if you ate 100 hot dogs, 5 of them were solid rat filth and filler. You know, and all those weird things that are allowed in food. Now, a lot of that stuff is antiquated because, like most processed food, whether you like it or not, it's made in relatively clean standards compared to even 20 years ago, because a lot of it's automated. So I mean, yay for processed food. But I know, like for me, so I think it was last Tuesday, I missed work because of my knee. I messed my knee up. I think I messed it up at that wedding when I twisted my knee, and I was having problems walking. So I didn't want to go, but I went and got it X-rayed and what do they call it, ultrascanned, and they actually sent me to a sports medicine doctor. And so this is the closest I've come to sports in the last 40 years. I was in there with all teenage soccer players. It was all like 12-year-old girl soccer players, and then me sitting in the waiting room.
Should have told them you got hurt playing rugby.
Yeah. But I don't know where I was going with that.
Wrestling for a tofurkey.
Yeah, I was wrestling for a tofu. No, but part of the reason why I just went to not eating meat and stuff like that was just to feel better, and for me it helped me out. But since then, since my knee was messed up, I've been trying to cut back on. I can't give up certain things, but I try to give up sugared drinks because I always drink an iced tea at work and this and that, and so I started that Friday. I lost 5 pounds since Friday, just from doing nothing more than not drinking sweet tea. So I was like, okay, and we are since I read food labels, if you look at the amount of sugar that's in anything that you eat, like you might as well drink a can of soda and not put ketchup on your fries. The amount of sugar that's in fries and the amount of sugar that's in things. And I think the sugar was messing with my knee just because I was heavier, and it creeps up on you. Like when I was John's age, I couldn't hit 175 if I was carrying bricks with me, and then all of a sudden you're like, what? They're like, because when they were looking at my knee, they said you could lose 30 pounds would be very helpful. I was like, oh, really? Seems like a lot, but.
Yeah, at this point, the best way I could lose 7 ugly pounds is amputation. Cut off my head. There goes
Well,
seven of my ugliest pounds.
My TK keeps, when I was trooping a lot, I kept in shape better because your TK armor, it doesn't give you much options for being over. You're like, oh, well, I can't, the Velcro doesn't match up. Okay.
Aren't you a little chubby to be a stormtrooper?
Yeah. No, I told you the story. I'm not trying to body shame the person who this happened to, but we had a stormtrooper that was he was heftier in his armor. So I was trooping an event, and Missy walked over. I saw her talking to this trooper, and then I saw him laughing. Then she walked over to me. Oh, I thought that was you.
Oops.
I was like, yeah, okay, I gotta do something. That was the first time. I think I lost like 30 pounds after that, but.
It can be done.
Huh?
It can be done.
Yeah, no, I mean it's it's just funny. But now she knows how to tell the stormtroopers apart. But back then it was 2 of us had FX armor on. I was like, come on, I'm not that heavy, but I don't know though. That's I think that's a wrap on the show at least. I mean, do we have any other Star Wars stuff? We got troop time. I don't have any toys to talk about.
We are well off the beaten path here.
Yeah, I know we were talking about beaver urine. And I don't know. I have Zoe's helmet out. I just gotta get Vader done. I just want to be working. Like I gotta get back into just working on set. It just seems like the last couple weeks have just been blah. I gotta just get working and sanding. I want the smell of primer and Bondo in the air.
It is an underrated smell. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And thanks for another awesome episode.
Yeah. Here, we'll say goodbye and then we can finish. We'll leave. Then I'll turn this stream off. So thanks everyone that I don't know how many people watched. We had Arc for a while. So all right, I'm gonna hit end, and then John has to tell us about